And we're back. Thank you so much for joining us, friends, connoisseurs of fantasy and curiosity seekers. Here we are once more. We do have a few things to cover, although I'm going to be pretty brief tonight. I hope the evening finds everyone watching well. Eldritch Foundry continues to be with us. Yay! So continuing to generate excellent figurines and extra figurines. And tonight I am determined. I have multiple notes up here that I'm not going to forget the frickin' trivia question. So, in fact, I have a mini surprise, and I'm going to try to make that up to you. Other than that, tonight is our last vignette. So we're going to have the first part of the session like normal, like we've been doing. Then we're going to have the last vignette, and that'll be a surprise for who that is. And so we're almost done, y'all, with the crazy timey-wimey stuff, which I'm sure the players will be quite grateful for. So you don't have to keep track of what level you were, if you had damage during this thing, or all of that. But I think when it all weaves together, it will have been worth it. And because of what happened last time, Donnie, and y'all's reaction to it, and well done saving Marcus, by the way.
Anytime, buddy.
Love you guys.
Welcome to the city.
Yeah. Welcome to Juramentum.
Usually doesn't happen. Sorry.
Place of dreams. There's a little crisis going on. So actually, let's do because that's going to just roll right in. So let's go ahead and hit a journal entry first. Yeah.
Candle of Tales.
Yay, Candle of
Tales.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. It's going to explode on me again. Help me.
Definitely not spark this time.
But why? Not yet.
No journal wax this time.
Oh, yeah.
No. In Sarah's kiss, what viciousness would compel a being to use this against another? I know war is upon us, this is obvious, but so quickly do words flee and escape mouths to threaten and kill. A war to enslave again, to go backwards, having the threat of healing. Such stupidity. It makes little sense to me. I wish there was a world where this was not possible. I hope for a world of freedom. I'm beyond thankful to have the help of the Kithki healers, but not glad for the attempt at Marcus's life. They're safe for now, Marcus and his family, but the rounding up of the 12th Lighters will cause a chaos within Juramentum that hasn't been seen before. But it seems we have a traitor or a spy in our midst. I fear for what will become of Juramentum. I fear for Lyvia and the paths that she might have to take to save the city from a coming doom that we may not be able to escape from. Death is now at our doorstep, whether we like it or not. We need to act.
There we have it. So at the end, chronologically anyway, toward the end of the last session, you had rolled, Donnie, to see how how well normality continued during this incredible, incredibly important day, arguably the most important day for the Kithki anyway, of awakening, which is a little bit past the middle of the moon of Taway, which would be roughly our March, so the beginning of spring. And because you rolled a 20, which is as well as you could possibly have done, basically the Kithki portion of it goes down, and so these events that are happening that Aniko via Catryn's journal refers to are going to unfold somewhat, or perhaps even substantially differently than they would have, because there are a lot of variables that aren't happening.
Thank God they're well trained.
Because of that. They are well trained. So I believe we left you at the healing hall.
I was leaving the healing hall. I set up a decury with Nilishi at the gate that goes out to the bonfire. Also decury at the Fisherman's Cove for the West Gate. And
okay.
And Rutilius was in charge of rounding up all the 12 fighters, and me and Mirik are just there with other Myrmidons watching over Marcus.
You had also...
the rest of the Polyxians are being escorted to the keep.
To the keep.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And that's Aurelius is leading that.
And you,
Italian.
second.
And I still have a baby.
And you still have a baby.
Yep.
second,
He's still asleep.
Second Sergeant Emilius.
Yep.
The best sword in Juramentum.
He's earning experience.
He's earning experience. He's trying to just finish the level. He's trying to hit that 20. Finally. So Nilishi, you're at the main gate, then right now.
Yeah, was I at the main gate?
Yeah, I wanted to see if you could keep an eye out for anything until
It was the main gate though. It wasn't the.
Yeah, it was the gate that leads out to the bonfire.
Okay.
That one.
All right,
far
yeah.
end.
Yeah, basically, so you're staring at Figulus Naeus' hut.
Okay, cool.
Over there.
So I figured that you three would meet up and then we'd all.
Watch out for the camera, baby, because your character sheet will show up, and then they'll know
We'll know your secrets.
your secrets.
She has a last name. Yeah.
That's the only character sheet I worry about. It's the only custom class. So, okay, so you fall in. So you're heading, not officially, but I mean, there's nobody there who's going to tell you no. So you're kind of unofficially heading as a, recognized chosen of the city and part of Lord Titus's fellowship. You're with that decury, and is there anything in particular that you want to do at the gate?
Can I ask where we are right now? How long before or after was our American my
6 days.
experience?
That will be 6 days in the future.
In the future. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good to know. All
Like I
right.
said, this will be the very last. This will be the last session where you have to mess with that tomfoolery.
I think at this point, there is more of just an ease, I think, that I feel around this area that's not so much, it doesn't really feel foreign to me because Figulus's hut is in eyesight.
Right.
I know the grove that's over there. So I almost feel like I would just be like slicing the air with my weapon or fooling
Cut
around.
in the air. Okay.
Soul Flayers aren't going to run from that. Yeah. Just love it.
You do have a moment. Make an insight check. I think this is gonna hit her at some point, but I want to see where it's at. This one's at -2.
18.
18. Wow. Okay. So even as you're cutting air, as you're moving through, and without even thinking about it, you're probably moving through a kata. Honestly, through a ritual series of motions that just come to you that some priestess perfected, some priestess guardian perfected, decades or centuries ago.
It's moving through the weapon, or I feel it as I'm wielding the weapon?
You more the latter. You're not quite to where the weapon is an extension of yourself, but you're getting there. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be probably pretty soon for you, depending on what you choose in your character progression. So as you're there, a very simple thought occurs to you that unlike every other time that you've practiced and trained and run through, you're currently facing east and not west or south. You're currently blocking people from leaving the city and not from coming in. And so is this decury. Take that for what it is. All right, so that's going on. You didn't have one of the fellowship in charge of the smaller gate around the docks and fishery.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Well, that's close to the keep, so that's plenty of Myrmidon there. All right. Boom, boom, and then where was the third decury that you had sent out? Was there a third one? To protect.
To find his family to bring him to the keep,
Okay.
and that's like on Rutilius' charge. Oh no, Rutilius was rounding them up. The other
He
decorators,
was running them out, and you had asked Rutilius to make a
Sweet for the 12 layers.
We're off to find the kids.
a list.
Yes.
The two of you are also off to find the kids. Randy, roll for your family. And I want to see if they went with the Kithki or if they stayed inside of the town.
14.
14. So, in your absence, Servilia actually has the strongest personality. She waffles, but she decides in the end that without you there, that it's safer to stay in the city. So she does not, even though they do participate all the way through the procession, all the way through the town, she stopped them at the gate, and she did not go outside. So that enables Weisa and Catryn you find them relatively easily. You know that if they had continued with the procession at this point, the procession is through the gate, which makes your job, Nilishi, more difficult, and you're having to like really focus and watch, because as people start flowing through, it's hundreds and hundreds of Kithki. Now, you know that, I think you know, maybe instinctively, if anything else, that there aren't any 12th lighters that are also Kithki, so you just are dismissing the Kithki, you're not worried about them, you're watching humans as they come through the gate. But still a lot more activity, of course, than would be there on a typical day.
Would I?
It's your birthday.
That's true, too. This is the day that you erupted.
Yeah.
Oh,
Happy birthday,
Years
Nilishi.
old. Look at her go. 3 candles. Yeah. You're not for light though.
That's true.
fresh.
You only killed 2 people on your birthday. You know, I'm sorry, it's not.
Do you change lights every year? No.
Day's still young.
That's funny. Yeah, that day ain't over yet.
I'm wondering if, as I'm
point,
seeing like these humans walking through, if I if I can feel any kind of sense of like if they're hiding something or not hiding something. Like, is anyone standing out to me?
Make either a perception or an investigation roll.
Wow. Sorry.
Hey, lots of energy.
Let's do
Probably investigation.
investigation is a better one for me. That's 16.
16?
Yeah.
You're keeping a pretty close eye, and unless someone is being very careful and deliberate, you're pretty sure that there's nobody going through the main gate. Also, you're still not super familiar with humans, but it seems to you that it would be kind of crazy for you to just for you to have a situation where they're just traipsing through, you know, and without a care in the world. It'd be a little weird. All right. So the two ladies on the Colin fruit side of the table. As opposed to the Arpo.
I love it.
What do y'all do when you get to the gate and you see this, you know, massive clanging, clapping, cheering procession? You're catching the end of it because they're starting to filter on along and up toward the bonfire.
Treats. Who wants some treats?
Oh yeah. They turn around and you, actually probably both of you, roughly the same time, you spot most of Marcus's family. So that's saying something. I mean, there are about 20 of them over there, all told, hanging out on the inside of the gate near the barracks, looking around, almost like they're not really exactly sure what to do.
I think I'm gonna grab your hand, Weisa, and point to over where they are. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna pull her and run towards them.
Okay. Oh wait, what's up now? Servilia, as you come, and she sees you running. She recognizes you, of course, from the diaspora up from Pollux, but she sees the urgency and instinctively puts the smaller kids behind her. Her thin husband, nonetheless, comes up to her side, and I believe your older brother was there as well. Servilius was there as well, right?
I told Servilia to just buy them treats. She took them off. I don't know where Servilius was.
Right. I think he probably would have stayed with them. So his three siblings, or 2 siblings and sibling-in-law, I guess, are there. What's going on now?
Lord Titus requested for y'all to come to the keep.
What?
It's nothing weird. We just need all of y'all to come with us.
Nothing to fear. Just we'll have some treats together. Be together. It's important.
Make a persuasion check. She looks at you suspiciously.
Oh boy.
It's okay. 13.
Okay. Where's my brother?
I can show you. He's in the healing hall.
He just gives you a terse nod. And stay close. Starts going back to the healing hall.
Yeah, and then she'll walk up.
Okay.
I'll follow.
The streets are basically deserted right now.
Okay.
You have hundreds of Kithki. I mean, the better part of it, actually more like probably 1,000 of them, God, who have streamed out of the Kithki quarters. And then most of the humans, many humans have either gone with them or they're giving the Kithki procession a wide berth. So either way, it's an empty street.
Can I make a perception check just to see if there's anything that I would have to that would be weird or out of place right now?
It's a tall order, but yeah, you can
Okay.
you can try it.
Tall order, huh?
I will roll for you.
Ooh.
I will roll for you.
Spooky.
What's your perception plus?
That would be a +4.
Okay. You look around. You give it. You're not hurried. You know these streets. You've been going up and down this particular section literally your entire life. So you're well aware of what it should look like. Your brain, that magnificent mind of yours, catalogs, and you do something you may never have done before, Catryn, which is you take what the street looks like, should look like, and you pull that perfect image up in your mind, which, of course, your character doesn't have the word computer, but it's an almost computer-like fidelity to it. And then you're quickly scanning and running through. You feel her doing something as she's looking and she's parsing these things out. Almost like she's tapping into the Eternal River, but still more present than that. And you pull away and you don't find a discrepancy
Okay. Sweet.
of note,
Okay.
because you know what awakening should look like as well.
Okay.
Is this for his 4 kids and their kids, or is it the whole crew?
It's the whole crew.
It's the whole crew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even some of the people who aren't related to him by blood, but he calls them his kith now.
Got it.
And they've basically come on into the extended Pollux family.
Got it.
So yeah.
Maybe I would let you lead to the healing hall and I stay behind the crew. Rear them.
Oh, okay. So are you?
Caboosing.
So you're gonna try to keep some of the family there or some of the kith there.
No, we're all gonna go, but I'm just gonna rear it. I'm gonna be the.
You're gonna be the caboose. Got it. Okay. So yes, Randy. So you get to the healing hall, and you hear, "Oh fuck's sake!" And his sister, his tough as nail, strong old sister, runs in, kind of dragging her husband behind her. What? And his older brother lumbers over there as well. It's okay. It's all right. What happened? What happened here? And there's you can hear a little shade of Marcus's mother-in-law, who thankfully through all of this, she was worn out by the morning activities and she's snoozing somewhere nearby.
Thank God. Wonderful.
Otherwise you'd a whole different
Tense.
scene.
Oh my God.
Yeah, as you guys approach, and I'm standing outside, I see Catryn. I'm like, I said the keep.
I'm sorry. I didn't know how to get them
It's
out.
fine. We'll figure it out.
Do you approach them or do you just kind of let them play themselves?
Yeah, some of them go in. I do want to make an announcement. Be like, we're all going to the keep. Do not worry about Marcus. He's feeling a lot better.
Don't worry about him. Don't worry about him.
Yes, that's what I said.
He's half dead, he is.
He's fine. He's in the greatest hands of healing that on this
He's
side of the
resting.
continent.
You'll be fine.
She glares at you. She's
He's taking a nap, as Sergeant Merrick said.
as I promised, Donnie, we're not there yet, but she's about 3 sentences away from challenging your dignitas.
Fair enough.
This is by the way, this is a fierce woman. There is no fear in her heart. If anything, she's become even more determined since her near death in the bogs, in the boglands.
That makes sense.
So she looks at you, but then she looks back at him. I ain't leaving him.
Fine, you can stay, but for the safety of the rest of your family, I'm going to escort you to the keep. There's been a situation. Marcus can't be more secure than he could be anywhere else than here right now. I will explain everything once we arrive at the keep.
Make a persuasion check.
I lean over. Nilconda.
15.
Perhaps we bring Marcus to the keep. Just to keep.
I don't want to interrupt whatever of him being healed.
You're saying I can stay here then?
You can stay for the safety of the rest of your party, and I'll have Sergeant Merrick stay behind with you.
It's 2 fronts. I'm gonna.
You have my word, your family will be safe, and so will Marcus.
Make a perception. Both of you make a perception check.
Perception. Gross.
We love perception.
15 minus 1, 14.
14.
Okay, so you mutter. She doesn't say it. She doesn't say it very. Yeah, how often is that going to happen?
Right.
No.
She doesn't say it very loudly, but you hear her mutter. Heard that before. When you yeah.
And I hear that?
You do. You catch it as she's turning away, and she's.
Probably not from me. And then turn, and I'll start escorting the family. But very sternly.
She watches you, and just before we're about in a situation where she could potentially degrade your dignitas, or you would have to slap her down, she relents, or at least doesn't say anything. Okay, and
that one, yeah. No.
I remember. I just both for the audience and for the player, not to put too fine a point of it, but Pollux, which she was born and bred in, has no patricians.
Mm-hmm.
So you are literally a species of human, so a caste of human that she does not know how to appropriately interact with.
Fair enough.
So you go out, and obviously the children are beside themselves as they're out there. No, it's okay though. It's okay. Her husband says he's a tough one. That is, he's tough, and he's in the hands of Thorn. He is. He talks about it all the time, about path laid and whatnot. And so we're just gonna take this path that's laid. And he's feeling miserably at his performance and trying to Quintus is Servilia's husband.
That's a lot of words, Servilius. Thank you. During that, I will definitely lean over to Merrick and be like, when Marcus is able to move, bring him to the keep as well. Along
Keep
with
it
you and the family.
Decca here as well, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Send a page.
I'll make sure Decca from the.
Deckery is there. Okay.
Is that,
Yeah. No, they're posted now. They're there. Like I said, that you're just a bit down from the larger of the two barracks, so
Yeah.
you have plenty to draw from. Okay. Events move forward. You do manage to get the bulk of Marcus's kith and kin over to the keep. I'll skip over. I'll skip over some of it, but essentially, you can imagine how the children are feeling about this. How it's it's frightened them. Some of them all over again. Since are either of you gonna try to allay their fears as they go over, or are you gonna leave well enough alone?
That's your job.
Yeah, that's my job.
Catryn is not gonna dive in with
gas
this.
on fire.
I will say, are we taking that main road down?
Are you taking that main road down?
I think she will because she's surrounded by so many people.
Okay.
But she's gonna sneak a peek. She's gonna sneak a peek and see if she can see anything in her.
Okay.
Old establishment.
Okay. Make an investigation roll.
Oof. Let's see. 19.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that really?
Okay. You do find something. It may not be what you're expecting, though.
Jesus.
Ooh.
So it's one of those things, Anika, where it's just as you're passing the hut, and you glance down at a particular angle, and it's one of those angles that you're going to lose almost immediately as you're going down because of how the huts are constructed, and what you see is a young, lissom, sun-haired priest.
I knew it. This bitch.
I knew it.
At the same point not where you were assaulted, but where you first met Finney. And you just catch him, he's knelt down on the ground. His eyes are closed. He has a sketchbook open, but it's not used right now. And he's touching it almost as though he's touching a sacred site.
Creep. Wow. Oh boy.
And then you lose the angle.
But I saw all of that, right?
It is in your vault of a mind now for as long as you care to have it.
Okay. She's gonna run over there.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Break. Do you
Touch my underwear.
say anything as you see you're leading them now anyway?
Yeah,
so.
I'm leading and I'll be
I
like
clock
holding a hand
it
with
and I
Okay.
kind of
Children.
stay back a little bit.
Okay. He from your time with him, he's fairly alert. He doesn't just kind of wander
Oh, I'm sneaking.
confused, but he doesn't. You don't need to roll
Okay.
because he's the hut itself, shutters closed, which is a little bit weird, but shutters closed, doors closed, because of course in Juramentum shutters closed means you're not receiving visitors, and it's in the middle of the day, so even for your family that's a little weird. Not unheard of, but a little weird. And you see him, he stays there, and you come up to him. What angle do you want to take? If you're coming up to it from his left.
I kind of want to go a little bit behind him. I want to push him. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's
She's very angry.
that's fair.
Because he's knelt, he's kneeling down?
He's knelt. He has his hand in, and as you come up to him, you hear him, and you can hear a shudder in his breath. And as you're about to push him, you hear him say, "How alone she must have been." Okay, you push him over.
Yeah.
Make it to hit roll at advantage.
Advantage?
Yeah.
I got 14 and 1.
1. Okay. Well, good. We'll take the 14. Woo! He does have his wits enough that he doesn't just freeze. He spins and has this book out like a shield for a second on his back.
So you've been following me my whole life. My whole life you've been following me, and you come here to this spot. Why?
Catryn, you're here.
The images that you had in that book. How did you know? How were you there?
You're here. I'm sorry. I
Don't say sorry to me.
meant to find you.
Explain yourself.
I wish I could. He starts to sit up. This
Hurry up. I don't have time.
This is the first place I ever saw, but I didn't know how. I was too young. I was just your age, a bit older. I've seen you my entire life.
In dreams, in visions, in how? How?
Yes. That's... Call it the sight. Call it some atavistic dream walking that those of the old empire are not supposed to be able to engage in. I don't know, but yes. Ah! He wipes some tears out of his eyes and turns away from you briefly. I cannot believe you've caught me out like this. My God, this is embarrassing.
Embarrassing? This is ridiculous. So what, you came to Juramentum for me? Or you came for a different purpose?
No, I came because His Grace sent me. Because the missionaries out with Utini, I need to tell all of them how they served or did not. Meeting you, I didn't know you were here. I didn't know. I thought I was mad. I thought that you were some sort of some sort of succubus that had been planted in my mind, or something. Well, look at you. You're you.
No shit. Who else would I be?
A figment of my imagination, of my most fervent desires, of my most secret dreams. Someone that had a mind that was equal, nay, surpassed my own, who cherished wisdom and knowledge, as he reaches under and he takes his candle of faith in silver, the third light. All of that. But you're more. Look at you. You're chosen. You're wonder of wonders. You are a will worker.
Don't compliment me.
Compliment you? And now he stands up and dusts himself off. I speak truth. Would you deny these things? You don't have to here. They won't chop your head off or any of those sorts of things.
Yes, but in the future, what's gonna happen when these things change?
I've been asking myself that as well. I don't know. Even you can't know that.
I can try. She's gonna walk away.
What? That's it? No. No! And he has to jog. I assume you're walking pretty quickly.
I am.
Yeah, you're walking
you
to catch.
gone?
You're walking to
I
catch them.
was watching very slowly. I'm right there.
Oh, okay. Then I'm gonna walk up to
The succubus is watching.
Weisa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
kind of continue to walk.
okay, he's keeping pace with you, and he says, "Everything I said was true. Every syllable of it. It's come to me in flashes and in visions, sometimes when I'm looking into a pond, sometimes when I'm writing, sometimes when I should be meditating or praying, and it's not the face of Quaelathon that I see, but yours."
She's gonna turn around and face him and say, What do you want me to do with all of this information? What are your expectations for this? Because I don't know what you want from me.
Until a 10-day, I didn't know that you were real. I don't know. The first commandment of the third light is that we bear our ignorance before Quaelathon. And so here I am, bearing my ignorance before you.
Kind of nudge Catryn.
Meet me later tonight, outside these walls. There's a hut. Meet me outside of it.
I will. I suppose this is a bad time to tell you that I have a gift I never thought I would deliver.
If it is another book.
It's not.
Adrian, lovely to see you. We've got to go.
Right. It's a poem in a dead language I reconstructed.
Oh my god, she's gonna walk away. She's gone. Jesus Christ.
Damn it! I always get that wrong. Stop wrong. Okay.
Be safe, lover boy. Yeah. If I heard any of that.
You do not hear.
I know. Damn it.
I wish you did. I really wish you
man.
did.
I'm
But
glad you didn't.
campaign's a little
Things
too
are a little
realistic
too
for
serious.
that. Yeah.
Oh god.
Spock finds love. Miss Spock in this case.
You, Marcus, there's a persistent. So, you and Alba are floating underneath the clouds. You're on that favorite grassy knoll. It's springtime. It's actually just a little bit past this time of year. The Harpesia have abated. They're screeching, and their patrols. The clouds are wonderful today, and you can hear the love of your life's goofy little giggles. The only time that she still gets to be a kid, when she's pointing out. And that one looks like I'm not going to say that one out loud. She turns to you and she whispers something between, not necessarily husband and wife, but between two lovers.
I laugh, I blush, I laugh.
Okay. She says, but not quite big enough. And, and something keeps jostling you on the right side. She's to your left. She curls into the crook of your arm. When do you think we'll have our first grandkids, Ubs?
I don't know. 2 years, maybe? I mean, Livius is near that. We'll get him a wife first, of course, but you know how it goes.
Of course. I do.
What about the official village girl? She's seen that on him.
Can I admit something to you, Ubs?
Of course.
I wondered if one of the traitors going up and down. You think sometimes they're even women. I don't know. I'm just thinking all folks is folks. They come from Regium. I wonder it would be good for him to be married to someone not us.
Of course he'd be better if we're married to someone like us. It's one of us.
Suppose you're right.
Well, I suppose at the end of the day, whoever he sets his eyes on, will support.
And she'll be damn lucky.
She will be.
The jostling.
No way.
And,
They crack an eye at that.
okay. Marcus! And you see Servilia's hatchet, not quite hatchet face, but sharp features, sharp nails that have started to dig into your arm a bit.
Awake. Stop it, please.
Oh, right. Well, these two are saying you need to sleep it off, but I just want to make sure you were, still kicking.
I'm kicking. Sort of laying at the moment, but kicking. Actually, I'm looking down my chest at this point.
You're expertly bandaged. If you'd like, I can show you how you can tell that he's still alive without waking him up.
And putting your nails in his skin.
Yeah, just be lucky I'm not putting my nails in your skin.
Civilian. It's fine.
You say laugh.
She stayed right next to the cot that you're on.
I'm looking around for Alba.
Alba's actually, she's right next to you on the other side. She looks kind of dazed right now.
Reach over and take
She hasn't noticed. Okay.
Reach over and take Servilia's hand. So it's like one on each side.
Servilia grabs you. Alba's, oh, Ubs. And there are paragraphs, pages, chapters communicated between the two of you.
We knew it was coming. That's why we left. Faster than I thought.
Probably
Yeah,
the first of many.
the way your lord was talking, this is his wife. Maybe the last. Girl can hope.
We need to prepare. Training, defense, things like that can keep us alive in a situation like this. My concern was only you.
Ubs. Remember when I told you that they're gonna want fires?
Why are you thinking it?
All right.
Great. Get you signed up soon.
Mac, a moment, please.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Servilia just looks at you like, yep, and gives you a little nod.
Ooh.
Okay, so you're approaching the keep. And actually, no. Hold on. How fast would that have happened? Not that fast. Okay. No, you make it to the keep. You're inside. where do you want to put Marcus's, the bulk of Marcus's kith and kin, Donnie?
I'll probably have them outside, like, just to start until Marcus and everyone arrives so I can dress them all in the yard, but also keep a really close eye on everything in and out.
Okay. Reading their lords' tension, you see more archers, Kithki and human both, appear on the walls. More Myrmidon come out around you. And make an insight roll.
11.
Okay. There's something, you can't put your finger on it exactly, but there's some kind of anxiety some strain of anxiety you're not used to feeling amongst these very well-disciplined troops.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I would have them be walked into the hall then. Just and have them kind of protected.
Through the courtyard and into the
through
keep
the courtyard
itself.
and the keep
Okay.
itself. And is Rutilius there? I would imagine he'd be by there. Unless he's still doing
He, you don't immediately see him, although you hear a ripple, murmur coming from inside the keep. And yeah, because you got delayed there. So
Yeah.
there's a ripple, murmur, just trying to keep all the logistics straight in my head. And you hear, Domini! From inside, people falling back. And then you feel the presence of Titus Invictus, of the Old Lion, before you see him. The old man walks through. How deep into the keep did you get?
I would have been the first one kind of leading in, so I probably would be about 10, 15 feet in front of the Polexians.
Okay.
With Jerem and a sword on my back and blood on my hands, walking into row.
He walks
And little gunfire. Yeah, and just give the proper respects when I see him.
He gives you a single nod, a single slight nod. Looks back, and you see one of the Nenas, one of the older Kithki women who had foregone awakening. She's seen plenty. She comes, not scurrying up,
But
she,
I would immediately just, I know.
she comes quickly.
Yeah. Like,
She takes him,
Yeah.
and he does not castigate you for having a child, for whatever's that. And actually, and as you think about it, this man of steel who doesn't, you're well aware of how
cold.
how short his tolerance is for things out of joint, as he would put it. He's never castigated you for having Jurem with you. He, on this occasion, he just touches your shoulder. You're his now, and he starts walking out. The lot of you remain here. And they may not understand patricians, but they understand a 20 charisma and a 20 dignitas in his own time and place, and they kind of shrink away. Even the more boisterous of them shrink away. Your men, protect them, make certain that our word is good. And he starts walking out.
Walking out of the courtyard, out to the... He shouldered me to follow him.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, as I'm walking past them, I would kind of nod head, and then when I made eyes with them, I'd be like, quick wink, but just still walking behind him.
He has a scroll in his hand that's fresh enough, Donnie, and was written so hastily that the ink is bleeding through. It was not properly blotted.
And Livia's...
You don't see Lyvia right now. You can't imagine she's going to be gone long. You do, however, see Third Sergeant Paulus with your grandsire. Third Sergeant of the 1st century. A dowdy individual. Without going too much into him, I'll just let you know, he is a former gladiator. He is an escaped gladiator from Leptis Regium. Ooh. And he is built like a brick shithouse.
Yeah. Sergeant Poulos?
What?
Domini. And he's coming right along. As you come out, you see in the courtyard there's a little bit of confusion, and there's some kind of squabble that had started at the gate, and as soon as the two lords of Juramentum come out, silence falls, the squabbling immediately stops. Your grandsire doesn't even acknowledge it. He just keeps walking through. They open the gate, so he never breaks stride. He hangs a left as you leave the gate and starts heading south.
Yeah, I'm following behind him.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see Third Sergeant Paulus's decury had arrived outside, and they fall in to one wing as you're moving. As you're moving, Donnie.
It's the only time I can't talk first. So.
There's another. As you're moving, you are quickly joined. Maybe another 20 or 30 yards down the pathway. You're quickly joined by a second decury, 5th Sergeant Hostis, who was also born in Leptis Regium. You're getting the Regium crew because you get a third decury of 4th Sergeant Statius, who turns in a very different character from the other two. And Statius, lived as a starving urchin and is an escaped slave. So you have quite the little cast from Leptis Regium. You had your imbroglio over at your hut, so you're a little bit behind. Although by the time they're walking, that does take long enough that you can catch up. You see this much larger than anticipated entourage leaving the keep, where the smaller gate disgorges maybe 15 of them, quickly picks up to 30, and maybe as many as 40. And they're heading south and toward the armory, brewery, etc. And he's just headed on down. And you see, Titus Invictus on site. Obviously, everybody does, but you have a personal recollection of him battling the 3 ladies and testing their mettle.
Never forget.
What do you all do?
I'm gonna try to be sneaky and follow, but from a distance.
Okay. Weisa?
Hang back with Catryn.
Prowling? Are you prowling?
Yeah.
All right. Make stealth rolls, you two.
Prowler.
Problem.
The Prowlers.
13.
8.
The wink was enough. I got this.
I'm sorry.
That's funny.
You're prowling along and usually have no trouble with this. But there's a part of you that's badly distracted right now. And your foot fetches up against a poorly constructed mound of collen fruit that's adhered in the mud right now because it hasn't finished drying. So fortunately it's adhered in the mud, Anika, so you don't smash the whole thing over. But you fetch on it, you're like, okay, I gotta get myself back here. And falling a little bit further behind. As you're moving, you do see a number of civilians that eventually becomes roughly equal to the number of Myrmidon here that are hustling. You're hearing murmurs. Are you going to try to tune into the conversation, or are you just keeping perfect military bearing?
Perfect military bearing.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that I'd be reprimanded every day of my life if I would. So
Okay.
Kind of drilled in.
Can I hear them?
Most likely, actually, no, you don't even need to roll. Yeah. So.
Well, Darkeport Sidebar. If you guys are joining in music tonight, you can purchase it on iTunes, Spotify. Steve Gurns is a wonderful. Yeah.
Who was the 5th Sergeant?
The 5th Sergeant was Hostis.
Hostis, yeah.
Rabble.
What's gonna happen?
You do the two of you do notice that a lot of the people who seem to be following in tow have several of them. I would say maybe 10 of them, maybe 10 to 15 of them now, have a wooden eye that's around their neck. Okay.
Is that new to me?
The wooden eye. You're not you're not sure what to make of it. All right. You get to.
Do I know what that is?
You probably do. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
There. Yeah, this is quick. I just like keeping Donnie in suspense.
It's not fair.
Da-da-da.
It's great. I'm just happy. Catryn called me a lord today. That was kind of nice.
I
Lord
had to.
Titus called. Yeah, you had to.
Forced.
Okay, likely story.
Forced to.
Forced.
Garbage. Hiya.
Forced.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So, you pass by the fields. You see the plowing that's been going on now. Of course, there's the most famous field is outside of the walls, but which is still a functional field. But the ones that you're passing by now are larger, more important in many ways, at least practically. And finally, this pretty solemn procession. He makes it all the way to that shrine, Donnie.
Flight shrine.
Yep. The smallest, constructed only of wood, as is their wont. Least impressive, no steps. In fact, it's quite humble. It's well maintained, and it is spotless. It's spotless, but there is absolutely no adornment on it at all. In fact, an outsider who wasn't used to the 12th light might hardly know that this is even a shrine.
Yeah, a shack.
It
Well
looks like
maintained shack.
Looks like a large, well-maintained, right?
Yep.
Some sort of shack. You also know, because you have a passing familiarity with this, you also know, and Catryn would know this too, that when the 12th lighters gather, they do not sit, because one does not sit in the presence of divinity.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Self-reliance.
you might kneel, but you will not find a stool or a pew or anything in there. And finally, he gets there. The lion, the old lion. He turns. He looks like to describe him to the audience, since this is actually the first time he's been on stream. He, in many ways, he resembles. He's clearly related to you by blood, but he came. If you came from the fire, he came from the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And in his youth, in his prime, even well into his fourth and fifth decade, he's now 77 winters into his journey, almost at the very end. He was considered a striking man with piercing blue eyes and hair of sun that he eschewed doing anything with, but still had the vibrancy of not just a chosen warrior, but the undisputed great of his generation. And you know, this is because you do, even though you play it being ignorant, you do have a pretty impressive knowledge of history.
Mm-hmm.
You've done your reading, and even from sources hostile to him, a lot of estimation, it's +1 generation and -1 generation.
Yep. They
And
fear as much as they respect him.
and he sits there, Donnie, this old titan, and he waits.
Yeah, I wait beside him.
More of these hands behind his back, aquiline features up, staring off into the distance, waiting, not moving a muscle, almost literally not moving a muscle. But for his breath, you would think that he was catatonic,
A statue.
a living, breathing statue.
Yeah.
More and more of these people come, and then it becomes obvious to everybody that they're wearing these wooden eyes around them. Most of the people here, not all of them, but most of them are. That was him. You can hear him. He does finally sigh toward the end, although you're the only person close enough probably to catch it. Rutilius, by the way, did make it here. And he and your sister, Lyvia, came in one another's company. Her younger handmaiden, Sadi, came with her as well. A number of her a number of her scrivener staff also came, although they're hanging way back. She does not approach you, and she does not go up to her grandsire while this is going on.
Mm-hmm. And he says he knows it was him.
What's that?
What did he say to me that I only heard?
Come again?
Oh, never mind. Okay. Must have misheard it. You're good.
So, he, at last, when there are about, this is so crazy, this is happening, and a good bulk of the city doesn't know. There are about they're close to 200 people who finally show up. A good chunk of Myrmidon. So you have about 50 Myrmidon there. 40 of them under sergeants from Leptis Regium. And the rest, you have, it's hard to say exactly, but the bulk of the civilian crowd has these wooden eyes on them, which, of course, at this point, your character remembers and knows is the 12th light, the symbol of the 12th light, subservience. They would never adorn or bedeck themselves with a symbol of his radiance, of Quelathon's radiance, so they would not put a candle on themselves. That would be blasphemous to them. But they can be his eyes, as they like to call themselves. Usually outsiders call them 12th lighters, but his eyes. All right, you're being stoic, you're guarding, you're recuperating, you're guarding, so you two are the only two members of the fellowship who can basically act as they like. Is there anything you want to be doing while this gathering is happening?
I'm gonna walk up and stand next to Lyvia.
Okay. And she is north of the shrine, Anika. Still close enough to hear everything. She nods to you. You think, perhaps gratefully, that you're there. Weisa?
Where's Rutilius?
Until just a few moments ago, he'd been standing with Lyvia.
Okay.
Although it's some unspoken telepathy of a 60-plus year association. Rutilius at Vorn, the Seneschal of Juramentum, goes and begins making his way slowly over to his master, but you can pass him and have words with him before then if you want.
Yeah, I'd like to just very coyly bow my head and speak to him almost sideways.
He takes advantage of his advanced years, and he coughs and pretends to work something out on his thigh as you pull up alongside him, facing the other direction.
Sly, as always.
Rutilius, with honor, I'm a bit concerned. The people seem scared.
With good reason. I hope we can turn this blade aside, Weisa, and that this is not a charnel house and stays a shrine. I will do what I can, as I always have, and as I always will.
Please utilize me as needed. I will keep an eye.
He turns to you then a little more openly, and if you allow it, he actually sends a powerful message by putting his hand on your shoulder in public. And then...
Score! That's why I love him.
And then he turns, and Lyvia nods at that interaction, and he shuffles over to the side of his life-sworn lord. Invictus starts staring down the crowd, and there isn't an eye that can meet his. I'm not going to sit in front of you and give you a long, involved speech. The last words I had to say in that regard passed my lips 30 winters ago and lie buried with my son. I will say only this. In that shrine is treachery, the slaughtered body of a beacon. Not my faith, but the faith of most of you gathered here. Your Templar turned on his sacred charge, struck him down, and then attempted to make my word and the word of Juramentum dirt by killing someone who has been accepted as a citizen. I know some of you here think we have allowed blasphemy into these walls. And by the lights of the great lady Vipsania Drusa Marula Zosh, you are allowed to have those thoughts. What you are not allowed to do is to slaughter your own beacon or my citizens. That will be a price. Is the man responsible for this treachery, blasphemy, betrayal? Is he in the ground, Commander?
Yes. Lord Titus.
And are the people who aided and abetted his foul decisions also in the ground?
From the four that were with him, but not those who may have planned.
Understood. But the hands that were raised are all dead.
Yes.
A feast for the crows, as it should be. You have a choice ahead of you, 12th Light. His radiance. And there is a murmur of something in the crowd as he addresses them in the way that they think of themselves. The radiance of Quailethorn. I do not know these things. At the end of the day and at the end of my winters, I am what I was born, a warrior. And I will die a warrior. I am not a theologian, I am not a beacon, I am not a philosopher. Perhaps you are his radiance and truth on this earth, and perhaps not. That is not for me to say. It certainly wasn't for Templar Cassius, who's now oath-sworn and correctly dead. Your choice is this. Before the sun sets, make peace with the fact that my progeny and heir, the commander, acted correctly and in accordance with our values here of Juramentum, or leave.
Titus will take a small step forward.
There's a quavering hand
Yeah, I'll take a small
that
step.
starts, but go ahead. Yeah.
It's been 4 years since blood has been spilled inside of these gates. A son, and I look over at Titus and Victus, I'm like, a father. Anyone who would ever raise a sword inside here will never be welcomed again. Do with that information as you wish. You may be banished. But I will not put you to the sword if you swear now. From this day until the end of Juramentum.
There's some tears, there's more quaking, there's more consternation as they look at each other. Invictus takes the scroll. Back in line, Commander. Let me add this to the scale. This is a list drawn up under a legal order given by my commander. This list has the name of everyone here. I know what the great lady who co-founded the city with me would want me to do with this list. One of the lantern bearers runs up, puts it in the lantern. This is me giving you your life back. This is me giving you what Leptis Regium will never do. You all know that. And most importantly, this is me upholding her dream. Decide. As the flame comes over his hand. He doesn't move it. He's got in excess of 300 hit points. He's fine. And it just burns around the hand and burns. So for the rest of this encounter, it burns around. The hand that was quavering goes down. Asked and answered, wouldn't you say, Quintus? Domini, let me be the first to decry this heinous action. And one of the scriveners, who's also a 12th lighter, who had his hand up, he runs forward. And he throws himself on the ground. And immediately several other go up. There are several of them who look, about 10 of them, who look antsy. And they're waving. Roll for your grandsire and see if he reads the moment correctly.
7.
He does not.
Oh no.
Does anyone else?
Rutilius.
Thank you.
Hello.
Man. Oh, he's the best.
Rutilius says, as you catch, and he catches your grandsire's hand coming down to his gladius.
Yeah.
Domini, perhaps we can allow that dozen to see the body of their fallen beacon. Oh. Right. And Rutilius goes around. He looks over. He locks eyes with you.
So I come over.
Okay, yeah, you step forward, and you guide about a dozen of, for whatever reason, you don't understand their customs, but they must see the body of their beacon, even in the face of death, even in the face of banishment, whatever, and they go inside the shrine with you. And I'll just say it is as the old lion said. There's not much to the shrine, so it doesn't take you long. It's not like you have to go on a hide and seek. Mm-hmm. The only, for what it's worth, the death was swift. It must have come in a single moment, a single violent, outrageous, oath-breaking moment.
And do I sense they are mourning properly, like normally?
Make an insight check.
Oh, one.
We're having issues today. It's
Oh,
okay.
Look.
It's okay.
I don't see anything. I mean, it's an 8
You-
with my insight, but
Because you have a super strong insight. You're walking in, and I know, faraway friends, we didn't play through this, so I'll try to keep this brief, and then maybe we'll revisit this actually during the vignette. Spoiler.
Now you have to step.
There's the creak of the floorboard. There's the smell of hard copper, and also the emptying of bowels in the last moments of life. And it takes you back, Weisa. It takes you back to another set of creaking floorboards and desperate, vile men doing desperate, vile things under cover of darkness. And you make a wisdom check, and I want to see if you can abide being inside of the shrine, or if you have to retreat.
a wisdom check.
Yes.
That is a 16.
Okay. How do you steel yourself against having this horrendous memory thrust itself up into your consciousness?
I grip it
Okay.
as much as I possibly can.
Okay.
I don't want to change my frame.
Okay. Outwardly, you remain placid. Rutilius looks at you, and you know he catches some kind of internal struggle, but he obviously isn't going to undermine you and doesn't say anything about it. And he just goes over. The one who is the most insistent, he actually takes him by the arm, by the back of the arm, and leads him right up to the body, and then gestures. The man throws himself on top of the late beacon and begins weeping, which breaks two more of them. All men who had come in, by the way, breaks two more of them. As that's unfolding, more and more of them are stepping forward. And after the original scrivener and his compadre, dozens of women come forward swiftly and greatly outpace the men. And they just say, "We want to be here." And he nods, impromptu, unspoken. All of them start circling. They still don't touch him. He probably wouldn't allow it. But they still circle, and they see he locks eyes with each of them. There's a shudder. We don't really have a quote-unquote leadership skill, but Donnie, I need to see how you're holding yourself.
Okay.
So make your make a
Dignitas?
persuasion. Make a persuasion, and because you have held your dignitas well, put a +1 on top of whatever the normal persuasion would be.
That is.
Oh, that's good.
Sorry, that's 17, 26.
Dang.
Wow.
No, 27.
Just kidding.
Okay.
Damn, if only it was a 26. Yeah.
That's only Catryn says that.
Wow, 27.
20. Yeah, 27.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know that's really high, but
Yeah.
no, you got it.
Oh,
You got
wait
it.
a minute.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. It's
It's 17, 23, 24. Yeah, 24.
24,
My bad.
yeah.
I went the other way.
yeah. I was like, okay.
Oh, shit.
Still,
Every time I will roll that high.
still outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
You hold yourself. You hold yourself as the heir of Juramentum. And at some point, hold off on that. It does extinguish around his hand. His hand, by the way, is unmarked.
Oh, yeah.
So
This isn't the first time he's done this in front of me.
uh,
It's intimidated me my whole life. So I'm used to it. No one else is.
they go through, and in these late years, especially if they haven't lived in Juramentum their whole life, they don't see your grandsire. He has semi-retired, husbanding his strength for whatever is to come. He does not take the field often. When he does, he's devastating. And in fact, the point where you almost died at 13 Winters was one of his last, kind of regular patrols out there. But as these people are coming to, more and more of them with tears in their eyes, one of the women says, "It runs strong in your family, in House Vorn. Quaelathon bless thee, although I am unworthy to ask such a thing. But if it pleases him, and if it pleases thee, I and she has her baby. She presents her infant daughter to you.
To me.
Yeah, what do you do?
Be welcome, citizen. And then just kind of mate the eyes next. Kind of like,
Yep.
yeah.
She bows her head deeply. A few of them who were from Leptis Regium, civilians, they give you something you don't see in Juramentum, a full bow of former slaves to a patrician, almost an obeisance. They're almost on their hands and knees. And in this instance, your grandsire allows that. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. This continues on, and you hear the scrivener who started this, the 12th Light scrivener who started this, mumble something about the irony of 12, 12 of 12. And when you look back, perhaps Lyvia at some point will tell you that there were, within the city, there were 144 12th Lighters. Exactly. So at the end, as the civilians mill around, your group inside of the shrine has come out. And Tatiana, as this goes on, a second group comes forward at some unspoken, and then a third. So in total, there are three groups of between 10 and a dozen who come in, and you show the body. One of the youngest of them looks confused, like he wants to ask you something, but doesn't. And no, just wait. Now is not the moment. Read the fucking room, Falco. yeah, I know. So, and then finally, all 144 of them go past him. Dismissed! To the civilians, and they scatter. He turns. Sergeant Paulus! Hi, Domine! He runs up. You of the 12th Light? I am, Domine! Your decury. There was a scuffle. The commander had his intent clear, and yet your decury balked. Explain yourself. Accurately and succinctly. Domine, the fault is theirs. In that they valued their bonds of brotherhood over the word of your heir. But the fault is mine. In enforcing that, it should be my head that you take. Damn straight. Dismissed. Huh? He turns and he runs with his life.
Yeah.
And you see the 50... You had never truly appreciated this before. Maybe you had, but now you have a visual. You have at least 5 sergeants out of the Myrmidon, out of only 40 that came from Leptis Region. Actually, you have more than that, but 5 of them are here. And all 5 of them came in solidarity with their decuries. They didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But they all came. And the former... actually, nope. My bad. I may do that offline, but the most cerebral and reflective of your centurions, who is the centurion of all of these sergeants, has also arrived at Zelo. And he waits for his moment. He's hanging out, probably close to Lyvia. He's hanging out and waiting. There's an understanding that there's going to need to be discipline and order restored throughout the ranks. You know this. Since you're right next to her, you catch Lyvia's. So, sanity prevailed.
Catryn's gonna grab her hand. She's all about hand holding tonight.
She is.
And she's gonna give it a good squeeze.
Because she is a rustic patrician, and because she is a woman, she can do that without degrading her dignitas in public.
Oh,
And
God.
you're her advisor.
Didn't even think about that.
No, you didn't. But she would have snatched straight. She would have.
Yeah, that's true.
Suddenly had to scratch something, but she has that. She's also beloved. She gives you a squeeze back. There's a lot more I could say about that scene, but I have one last little surprise. So he holds forth, your grandsire does, his fist, his still closed fist, which has stayed clenched around the now just smoky remains, the ashen, smoky, crumbled remains of the scroll this entire time. He says, this. He takes your hand
Yeah, I would have put my hand down.
to his. Is not the dream. And he puts your list, what remains of your list, in your hand. And with more tenderness than he has ever shown you, Donnie, he gently
Says,
and the dream is still good. Make an insight check.
Ooh.
I'll let you have it.
yeah, it's a 2019, right? So yeah, 18. Shit.
He's a lot of things, but he's not a liar. His deception is actually one of his lowest scores. 20 charisma, but nothing else. For just a moment, you have a feeling that he might actually cry.
Yeah.
He does not. When he walks back, he does not go back to the keep. you know where he goes?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Goes to the crypt.
Yep.
Is it certain someone?
Okay. What do you do
As he was handing those over.
with the protected? Yes, you now have the last vestige of these burnt names that you ordered written in your hands.
They were in my hand, and on that I would have been like, I close with this sword, not the faith.
You don't even know if he hears you.
I needed to know that. And with that, I think Titus would probably just hold it, slowly turn it around, and kind of put it into his pocket. It's very odd, but holds onto it. And then with the rest of the remaining ash that he has on his hand, just kind of like moves it away like that. Just kind of makes his face a little blackened, and then he'll go off.
Lyvia comes up to you silently, and she mirrors your steps. Your twin does, and she walks beside you. So, Nilishi.
Yes. Hello.
Hi. How are you doing at the West Gate, baby?
It's all good over here. It's all good over here.
We're good at the West Gate? Okay.
I think by the time of that, it would have been a page to send her to come to the keep when they were leaving as well.
Well, Nilishi has a little. If I can
Shit.
get my act together over here. See, there are many. One of my precious, lovely players, was remarking upon how old school my situation was here, which is a true thing. There are many wonderful things about old school. One of them is not necessarily finding the correct character sheet amongst hundreds of them. So, that's fine. That's fine. You see... It's all fine. It is kind of classic. So, you see... This has all obviously been public.
You're doing great.
Really?
I should just like give you the friggin' trivia questions now because I'm gonna forget it. But okay, so we're not doing that.
We'll remember.
Okay.
I love it.
You're at the gate, and the Kithki, while this super concentrated situation is going on in one corner of the city, the Kithki are literally spiritually and emotionally on the opposite end of it. You hear them partying, dancing. I mean, you're a ways from the bonfire, but even though it's not nighttime yet, the day is wearing on. You can see the bonfire has been lit. It's only going to grow. You hear laughter. You see their bizarrely squat and yet nigh preternaturally graceful bodies running up this greased pole at an angle, and some of them don't get very far. Some of them get farther. Nobody yet that you've watched gets to the end. Spoiler alert, they just get drunker and drunker and higher as the day goes. Chew a little glimmergrass, drink some peated beer. Glimmergrass.
Don't do it.
And so they're not going to get any more graceful than they are right now.
Not a good time.
And you see, you can't quite make out what's on the pole, but you know from Weisa's friendship that the Kithki place what they consider an ascending hierarchy of treats on the pole, and that if you can make it to that point, you get to snatch these delicacies off the pole. And the very last one, supposedly, every awakening, Publia's pastries comes up with something brand new to put on there, and you get to be the very first Kithki to eat it if you can get to the end of the gastropole. It's a mighty motivation. So while that's going on,
How far away is that pole from me?
you're at the West Gate, and they're all the way at the beach.
So I can see it though.
You can see, yeah. I mean, you can see there are enough of them, hundreds of them over there.
Okay, but
you can see their bodies. But it's imagine like this kind of a crude example, but imagine like what's the beach for spring break? Padre, yeah. So you just have all these instead of college students though, it's a bunch of increasingly drunk and high Kithki.
The big pole.
It's a wonderful time.
It's a grand
Sounds
old,
great.
yeah,
It's the
grand
best.
old time. You're seeing a cart with a mule And the yeah. So you get there, cart mule, and there is a man there, bearded man, hazel eyes, kind of light brown hair, who just walks up to the hut and kind of openly cases the joint. What would you like to do? If
What do you mean cases?
Starts walking around.
Like pacing around?
Pacing around. Trying to look into shutters.
We're not there.
Wait a minute. I feel the energy.
I mean, I'd be reticent to desert my post at the gate if no one has come to me yet to say I could go. However, if I'm seeing this man walk around to a place that I'm staying at as well, then yeah, I'm gonna walk slowly up to him.
Okay.
And
so you're coming up. He comes back around from the back. He's at the porch. Open up, old man. I know you're in there. I can smell you. Who can't?
He's gotta go.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're not trying to prowl or anything. You're just
hides,
openly coming
sure.
up.
yeah, I think I'm gonna openly come up.
All right. He turns, clocking you.
Sir, what brings you out here?
What manner of... It doesn't matter. My own business. My own affair.
What is now my affair, as I was watching you stroll around the place that I stay. What business brings you here?
This is your home as well.
Occasionally.
All right. Then I'll answer you. Occasionally. You have nothing to fear from me. God damn. I didn't know they made them like that anymore. And he walks around you. He's about your height. And nice beard. Nice beard. Tawny skin. Well tan. Has a lean athleticism to him. And no, those are on the character sheet. I'm not making them up. And he does not bowl past you. He walks around you.
Walks around me. How close is he to me when he's walking around me?
Far enough, Allie, to not be invading your space, but close enough to still make the point of not being deterred by your presence.
Got a risk taker.
I'm gonna kind of follow him with my body.
Okay.
And I'm gonna... Is he continuing to, like, go around me in a circle, or is he walking around the house?
He's actually headed back over to the gate.
Over to the gate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow him.
Okay.
Slowly, behind him. I'm gonna call it again. Where are you going now?
Does this count as part of my occasional answer?
Not anymore. This is part of the frequent answer.
I don't think he turns to you. I don't think we'd established that part.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Nilishi. What's your name?
Here in Leptis Regium, across the river. Which one would you like?
All at once.
That's more than you can handle. Well, probably.
I don't believe so.
Call me Griff.
Griff.
Short for Griffin.
Do you know Figulus, Griff?
Yeah, I do.
And what do you think?
A lot. I think I need him to make things right. And I think this time he's going to help me. That's what I think.
She's gonna just like come a little closer to him. What's gone wrong, and what needs to be made right?
I don't think that's a tale I can tell here, but if you'd like to hear it over some peated beer, or maybe Colin fruit wine. No, peated beer.
Are you going into the city?
Now? I think I am. Didn't think I was half a torch ago, but now I think I am.
Can I see that there's not many Kifti walking through the gate?
They've pretty much come through the gate now.
They're like, it's clear.
Yeah.
Big party of the beach.
Yeah.
Tell you what, Griff. That name.
He does know. He chuckles at that.
Tell you what.
Yeah, Nilly.
Ooh. Spicy.
A beer sounds great. However, I am charged with the protection of this gate tonight.
The whole night.
The whole night until I am relieved.
That's a shame. All right. I can help.
I thought you had problems.
He leans against the wall. A few of them just evaporated. And one of them isn't going anywhere, and he looks back at the hut. Make an insight check. I know it's -2 for you, but I want to see.
You never know, we might get 20.
One.
What?
Ooh, the opposite.
That's
Got me off guard.
Wait.
Oh, what's going on here? Not natural one, reduced.
So I'm just gonna say this. You are a divine construct.
Mm-hmm.
You were also made in the form of a human. And you do not understand what you're feeling right now. Being in close proximity to this man. And he does want to, am I going to PO Justin? Yeah, okay, I'll do it. Sorry, Justin. I just want to show this, because this is classic. We got the gate here. We got the foot up. We got the lazy lean back.
Ooh. You got a coin? Toothpick? That's looking too cool.
Griff.
Tilt the hat down. Exactly.
He says, too bad. Not cold enough. And I'm not that interesting. I was going to give you, my cloak on some pretext, but it's to weigh. What are you going to do?
You can keep your cloak.
Yeah, I think I will. I kind of like it.
I do not often get cold. Maybe you have other errands to run in the city tonight? You came here for a purpose. Don't let me distract you from that purpose.
Nah, yeah, and I'm good.
Oh, boy.
And he pulls out a little half-finished figurine. And he just starts whittling on the figurine.
I feel like Nilishi's a little...
It's some kind of creature, by the way.
It is? Okay.
Yeah, some kind of creature that he's whittling.
Do I recognize that creature?
You do not. But you probably will by the time he's done with it. Okay.
just to say, I think Nilishi is a little aggravated at this point.
Sure.
And so she's gonna post up next to the fence and kind of like occasionally look over.
Okay. The decury is looking on. They have the sense not to comment. There are some murmurs. It's probably just as well that they keep their voices down. And as we get ready for intermission, we will leave our various people there. And
It's a question. Trivia.
I'll say, just so that
Multiple signature.
no, it was good. No, it was gonna happen. It was gonna happen. No, that's good, Corey. See, that's called a real life assist action. I'm gonna say, just for continuity's sake, because I don't want to be a liar jam. As the day goes on, I'm going to say you get caught up with Lyvia. There's a lot of
100%.
There's a lot of fallout that happens from there. I mean, I skipped over a lot, but obviously she has to make the rounds. She has to talk to community leaders. She has to make. There's a whole back end. I won't even say back end. There's a whole half that goes on with the women of the 12th Light, because they were caught completely off guard.
Yeah.
This happened so quickly.
And I'll be by her side the entire time. I don't think I would leave her.
And they're reeling Anika from the fact that a beloved beacon, what just happened is unthinkable to them. That their most trusted protector turned on a beloved figure and slaughtered him. And there's the very real question of, okay, who's going to continue? Who's going to continue their spiritual lineage, because they're very serious about it. Anyway, so that's going on. So eventually, Griff finishes with the figure, and he says, "All right, you smoked me out," and he flips it to you, and he says, "I'll spend one last night out in the stars, and then tomorrow I'll find you. I don't think there are too many people who will not be able to point me to the Amazonian Silver Lady."
I'm gonna look down at the figure I got.
It is a creature. I'm gonna say that one of the priestesses knew it. It is a griffin in flight. And that way we can skip a little bit of time. Allie, maybe we do a sidebar. I'll figure out how to handle that conversation. Because I don't want to cheat you out of that. But the next time we play, I
don't want to be cheated out.
I'm intrigued.
It's her birthday.
I think we're all in the journurney now.
We
For
are.
a class of
I just want to make sure. Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're caught up on the timeline.
Yep.
So that we're all there. Okay, trivia question time.
Woo!
Yay!
Yay.
And Tobias our sister producer, had the excellent idea to do two trivia questions, because we need to give those gift cards out. We're desperate to give those gift cards out. We want to give. So the first question is a repeat. It will be hard because it was not. I'll give a hint. So first question will be a repeat of last week, which is about Brother Gaius. So Beacon Gaius. So Beacon Gaius was the one who threw himself down to intercept a probably lethal extra bit of damage to you, and who you brought back from the brink of death. And he's Sojourner. He did not appear in this episode though, because he was busy contemplating having a mini, not crisis of faith, but having a serious talk about, this is all in the same day. What light does he follow, either numerically, or what light does he follow by description? So one word description. They each have a description there. I'll even say, if you know what color his candle is, we'll go with that as well. So that is the first trivia question, and then the second trivia question might be hard because it wasn't said this session, I don't think, but it's good general knowledge. What is the name of Merrick's wife?
My cousin.
I think that's fair.
That's sweet.
I think that's fair.
My baby.
And other than, she's been with you through thick and thin for 30 winters now, and nobody else wanted you. And everybody else was, and all the other,
say that.
Jesus. And all the other women, and all the other Kithki women of your generation were frankly afraid. So she was not.
No, it adds up.
So when we come back, we will have a vignette, and we will see if we can delve into a particular corner, a murky corner of Juramentum's history.
Ooh.
History time.
Love that.
Right.
Love that for you.
Well, History Channel action.
Other than that, I think we can go to intermission. Well, all right. If not, then you guys will just see us milling about and being silly and laughing it up over here, and it'll be what it'll be. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, and we'll see you back in roughly 15 minutes.
Sweet.
Hey guys.
Why limit your imagination? In the tabletop role-playing space, customization is everything. especially when it comes to your character. Whether you're a player, a painter, or a master of tales, your character is what matters most. Using high-quality, fully customizable miniatures, you can be built for battle with Eldritch Foundry.
Lift a voice to greet the rising sun. Your splendorous touch burns away the dark. With a soft golden hue, your world is made anew. We follow the path you've laid.
Howdy. Welcome back. Thought I heard something. Something interesting. Hopefully we'll have some interesting things here for y'all. If as far as the trivia question goes, if no one gets it in the chat, I still consider it live. So feel free to post a comment afterward, and first comment on either of those wins. I think that's fair. So, Weisa, the events of awakening, of rekindling, of the assassination attempt, of even Merrick's bizarre and somewhat shocking outing with the voice of Roth that you have now heard about from Nilishi. All of that is behind you.
Okay.
And you are at the last day of Troupe. And on this day, when Lucida is bright in the sky, as it always is, because on the calends of the next month, of the next moon, it will be, it always is. It always is, has a perfect circle of 30 days. And the next month of Greatus. Make a history check, and that's how we'll jump into this.
6.
So you know that the different names of the moons, they have different of the months, that they have different meanings, different significances, but Greatus, you don't know what the significance is of it. And you just may perhaps know it, perhaps not, as the kind of lore that you would want to know at some point. So you're there with Publia. You're having a nice, easy time with each other at this point. Oh, see, that's why we were struggling, because we didn't have the Candle of Tales lit.
I'm so sorry to the candle.
Yes, the candle.
My first time.
And I will just say, those of you in Austin, Texas, who are dealing with allergies know my pain. I am so sorry that I have been snorting like an old Empire pug, trying to spare you snorting into the microphone. So we'll just continue to struggle bus our way through. It's easy camaraderie now. It's old hat. You've been in the city for 3 full turns of the wheel now. You're now moving on, moving on with several awakenings. You weren't there, but you've gotten to live through the first assassination attempt. Yay! All of that, fugue, Nilishi's birth, all of that. And today is just a nice, quiet, normal day. Even the ripples, even the shockwaves of the 12th Lighters upheaval have started to dissipate. And in an interesting turn of events, it may actually be, to be fair to the 12th Light, those who follow the 12th Light, although their ways and their religion may seem extreme to some of the others, Church of Light, and certainly those outside of the Church of Light, there is a certain egalitarianism that they have, and there's serious consideration that in this dire moment for them, as a faith in the city, that the next person to lead them may be a woman. And that's what's coming out of this. In fact, a woman who has recently had a child and has received a blessing from the House of Vorn. So, in this context, Publia is there. Her longtime, her devoted and somewhat longtime lover, Lemonius, is there as well, who's less than half her age. And he's just whistling, content, loving being in the company of these 2 women along with him, tall and kind of lanky, blonde. Even his family has stopped harassing you so much they've just given up against Publia's constant smile, burying them with kindness. Lemon, Yes, my dove? Lemmy, would you go outside and maybe, I think we need some more firewood soon. The stoves need stoking. Oh, right. And he gets up and wanders out through the back, through their shared chambers. Weisa, as she's puttering around, she's getting some of the goods out, putting them back, getting some of them out, putting them back, really just fluttering and playing around, as she does sometimes. What do you do in moments like this? Where it's kind of a lazy day, awakening is gone, and you guys are just kind of going through the motions of work.
Yeah, I like to twiddle with things and just organize my space, close my eyes, watch Publia and Lemonius do what they do.
Okay.
Very chill.
And you have, of course, Maya, the Leptis Terrier of the shop, but she's not jumping around. She's slowing down a little bit. You've been here long enough now. And you can start to see the gray around her muzzle is there. She's not a puppy any longer, and she's sacked out next to the aforementioned stove that needs stoking. It doesn't really need stoking.
Sometimes I'll bake too.
Sure. It is, after all, Publia's pastries. I was wondering, I think today would be a good day if I could ask for a favor.
And what might that be?
We may need quite a bit, Lemmy. Right. She gestures for you to come over. I was thinking, about 3 winters back, there was an incident, more than an incident. There was an upheaval in the same way, no, greater magnitude than what just happened with the 12th Lighters, darling. I would like you to see if you can solve a certain little mystery for me.
Ooh. Challenge accepted.
I was hoping you'd say that. I've gone so far as to ask Lady Lyvia and Seneschal Rutilius if they would be open to accepting your company today. Of course, you're the lady's handmaiden, but this is a particular sort of interview. One does not, of course, interview patricians lightly, but you know all of that.
Of course.
They weren't called patricians in Tijuana, in the city of your people, but basically that's what the priestesses are there, more or less, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
So, what I would ask you is this. She leans quite close to you, her full lips, even well into her 6th decade, still holding a certain sumptuousness to them. See if you can find out who killed Lord Falco Simber.
Who killed Lord Falco
Simber? Oh, yes.
And who might he be?
Why, the father of your leader. Titus's. And Livia's.
Well, this is quite a big task, then, isn't it?
It is.
What might you think I need for such a task?
Certainly your wits.
Anything else?
Your adorable little smile. She gives you. She pinches your cheek. Not hard.
You're right.
With that smile, sweetheart, you can get anywhere you want to.
It's true.
I should know. I used to have one just like it. And you see her dimples appear, her baby blues just shining with mirth. This is a woman who loves life.
Yeah.
Even now, especially now, probably.
That smile is still there, Publia.
Oh, well, we just have to excavate to get to the girl who wields it, huh? But for you, no. This is the first blush of spring. What a wonderful time of life for you. Truly. I mean that. Well, go and see. And I promised Rutilius, I promised him some of my cider column fruits. So here you are. Don't eat all of them.
You know me well.
She gives you the Weisa tithe. So she gives you some extra so you can munch on them as you go, because otherwise they're not going to make it there.
So grateful.
And with that rather large thing ahead of you, she just turns and starts humming and, oh, Lemonius, no, darling, it's all right. Here, I'll come and help you. But you're such a delicate creature, my love. Oh, you're right. I might hurt myself. What was I thinking?
Gosh, rules.
We'll see you later then.
You have this moment of, she nods happily to you. You have this moment of juxtaposing her with the magnificent, relentless creature, that bodyguard, that protected Figulus and Crystal Remembrance, how she shielded his body from what must have been close to a ton of exploding shard and was still able to physically pick him up and get them out of there when he had been rendered insensate. And here she is, just looking like a Mother North in her bakery. You leave the bakery. What do you do?
Well, I make my way to the keep.
Easy enough. You're there.
I'm there.
You're there.
Okay, and what do I see?
When you don't want to be disturbed, you're not disturbed.
True.
And you have your almost flawless public persona, but you also still have you and all the training that went into that. So people's eyes slide off of you as you get over to there. You're not even really challenged at the gate because they know you as the Lady of Juramentum's handmaiden, one of them, older of the two. So you're in there, and it looks like a mostly normal day. Wonder of wonders. Myrmidon are training. Mules are doing their thing.
Just taking a scan of the space. Taking it in slowly. Just everything's slowing down a little bit. I feel like I'm taking in all details as I'm getting into this mode of like deeper sensory state. And I'm led towards the quarters.
Okay. You cross the courtyard. You go into the dark, cool, calm stone of the keep. One of the first, one of the first permanent structures, and certainly the grandest for decades in Juramentum, still the most defensible. And you're in the stronghold of this branch of House Thorn. Who would you like to seek out? You know where to find Lyvia. You know basically where to find Rutilius these days. You also could probably find Titus if you wanted to, although he's more elusive. And if he's out on patrol, then rough.
I think I'll start with Lyvia.
Okay. You appear in your mistress's office. And as always, there's commerce, activity. Not the master merchant, not the overbearing master merchant today, but a collection of fishmongers. And they're explaining their situation to her. She's listening very carefully. Looks up. Oh, Weisa. By all means, come in. We were just seeing to a certain little affair.
Aye.
So, you said that his stall was encroaching on yours. Well, here are what you've agreed upon, and here are where the stalls are located now. But Domina, no. These were attested to. You see this signature, and finally the lead scrivener. I'll have no more of this back and forth. You're clearly in violation. Here's the contract. I've read it to all parties concerned. And this is the way it's going to be. Anything else would be ludicrous at this point. This is already burned up nearly a 10-day. And so she runs through that. Finally, even with some sullen looks, yes, Domina. And they leave, and petty minor order is restored in Fishmonger's Cove, with one stall trying to encroach on the land of another stall. These are how small irritants build up over time in a community, and these are how small bonds are made of trust between leaders and their subjects, and between the fishmongers themselves. Make a quick insight check for me.
That is going to be a 16.
Okay, you're just almost on a lark. You're trying to read the one fishmonger, burly fellow, later on in life to see if he knew that he was full of it, but your attention is already focused on the lady. Although that in and of itself, you wonder, he keeps himself very steady. Probably a good liar. Difficult at cards. She says, I understand. Thank you, Scribonius. I'll have my lunch now. Domina, were we still going to see the goldsmiths today? Bit rich for our blood, but I suppose we can get prizes. Yes. Did the Macayan delegation, did that group make it here yet? I'm afraid not, Domina. Any word from Pollux? I'm actually, yes, should I? It's fine. Right. Handmaiden. He steps in. She says, briefly, if you would. He says, Zahar has set up an outpost in Pollux, and it looks like they're undertaking annexing it. Huh. Really? So, that's why the delegation was delayed. Understood. Thank you. Your report? He says, I have it ready, Domina. Better and better. Even before the dawn. Well done, Scribonius. Thank you. Vale. Vale, my lady. Handmaiden. He leaves. Door closes. As if the situation wasn't complicated enough. So, Zahar wants an outpost. Why? It's on the wrong side of the river. The trade is no better, arguably worse, than their own homeland. What in Quaelathon's name? I'll ponder it later.
I don't mean to disturb you. Is this a good time?
Weisa, if I were to wait until all matters were swept from my desk, I would be a crone by the time you got back to me. Speak.
Well, first, thank you for your graciousness. Perhaps you already have a sense of why I'm here.
Practicality more like, but yes, I do. Leslie, I had an interesting request.
It appears it's time to understand the past. And I don't know much about your father, the man that created you. But is there anything you can tell me? An
interesting way to phrase that. What would you like to know?
Well, I'd like to know...
The door starts opening. Ah, Aunt Saudi, thank you. Your younger counterpart that she actually had first as a handmaiden. Wait outside. Make an insight check.
20... Math. 23.
Oh, yeah.
Even with the 23, the mistress, and this should tell you something about Lyvia, you cannot read. However, she's as good at what she does as you are at what you do.
Sister. Yeah.
However, at Saudi, at 12 winters old, she does have some poise, Tatiana, but that you can pierce. She's surprised that her mistress, because remember, Lyvia's gone out of her way to include at Saudi as the handmaiden, so that resentment doesn't generate there. But she's surprised, but she does not balk at it. And she trusts her mistress. You see, with a 23, you can read there's surprise and then trust. And she shuts the door. Please, go on.
I'm curious to understand the last, if possible, the last chapter of his days. Was he in knowing danger? Was there... And what happened? To be honest, I have no recollection. I have no knowledge. I've been set on this treasure hunt.
Well, perhaps Publia and I shall speak anon about her interesting sense of humor. His last days. His last night. Quite a thing, you know, for the heir of Juramentum to end his life in a pantry. Better said, to have his life ended for him in a pantry. I suppose I cannot fault Publia for directing you to me, as I was the person who found him in such a state.
I'm sorry to hear that.
As you can imagine, it was difficult. Weisa, I won't lie to you and say that there's no... what's that Kifke saying? There's no good putting sugar in with the vinegar. The fact is that my father and I had our difficulties. He was, after all, a Vaughan lord, and it may have not escaped your attention that that particular subspecies of a subspecies tends to be rather intractable at times. My own brother, of course, a sterling exception. He is perfect and flawless in all ways.
Oh.
And you can feel the warmth, the love, when she says that, even with the light jest to it. My mother was, I suppose, even worse, and I'll spare you having to go and collect the gossip that still runs through these halls. It was only 3 winters ago. The details of her final days I do not know as well as Titus. But if I had certain difficulties with my father, then it's apt to say that I had... Make a persuasion check.
24.
I had, I suppose, a kind of unspoken war with my dame.
Whoa.
Oh, Weisa. What is it about you? Everyone wants to confess. She was plebeian, you know. There were no patrician women. Or men. Not here. We are far, far from our bloodline's shores. Fang Prime is a distant memory. There are what, 2 now left from the diaspora? My own grandsire and Seneschal Rutilius. I believe all of the rest of them, all 200 and more who set out, have met their end, one way or another. More than half of them at the Battle of the Bloody Shore. So, when it came time to wed, my father, his options were limited. Obviously, I wasn't there. But he chose my mother, at the time, not Lady, Portia. She was blood from the diaspora, born of original settlers. Striking, poised, intelligent, but well, I almost spoke ill of the dead. There were limitations, Weisa, in what she understood about her world. And there were further limitations on the stories that she told, not so much others, but herself. My brother is so sentimental. We women are supposed to be weak and emotional. Yet he is the one who took her pendant. She followed the 6th light, love. Upon... I actually can't remember quite what the occasion was now. How odd. Is it our birth? Something else? I should know this. Any road, he gave her an actual ruby to make the candle, of Quaelathon. So there is a ruby candle. Or was. Haven't asked Titus about that. So, he saw everything. You can ask him the details of his demise. But that was the context. I hope that helps. Is there something else you need, though? I don't want to turn you out without contributing.
Do you know anything of any trouble that either might be in amongst the people of Juramentum, or other foreigners, perhaps?
That was the thing, Weisa. This keep is quite secure. There are ways in and ways out. But in case Titus does not wish to go into this sort of gory detail, I will tell you one thing. And you can rule out poison or some sort of fire-derived will-working, such as Catryn can do. His demise was from patently obvious sources. What source? His chest was stove in. Tremendous force, as though someone had taken a maul to him. Not just someone. In fact, at the time, if memory serves, there were, 3, 4 men who were judged to have the physical strength to do him in such a way. His wounds were ghastly. Ghastly. Not just dead, but the instrument had actually punched through him.
Horrible.
Rutilius the Seneschal did look after. He confirmed that there were no hidden marks, that someone had not done this to attempt to obscure his demise. He searched my father quite thoroughly. Make a roll. I'm not going to tell you what it is.
9.
Okay. There's a slight tremble when she's relating all of this, which obviously is understandable.
Yeah.
There might be another layer to it. It's hard.
Mm.
And you know that Lyvia is well capable of answering you truthfully and yet keeping her own counsel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mistress, lunch. Understood. A moment. I
wonder if I'm hearing you correctly. Do you believe this was one man or that of many?
It would seem to me that perhaps we could miss the hatred in one man's heart. But to miss the hatred of 4, 5, that goes beyond. That strikes me as not credulous.
Mm.
Or not credible, I should say.
Mm.
So, that I do not know. Elders at the time, there was talk of bringing in the grannies, of course. I think they would have come if asked. But my grandsire, Titus Invictus, seemed oddly resigned.
Resigned?
Handmaiden, you've known me now long enough. I choose my words with care. I hunger. Would you like to share in my repast today? I believe we have some excellent cut of arpo.
While I do very dearly appreciate the offer, I must continue.
Understood. Quail eggs. I'll send some quail eggs along as well. I was promised.
And thank you, Domina. I know this is not the most pleasurable subjects.
It's not. But I know that your mentor, well, that truly is what she is, would not set you on such a thing without good reason. And although she has concealed her deeds, you know, she doesn't appear in any book. I happen to have some small insight into what she has contributed to the survival not just of Juramentum, but indeed all of mankind.
Mm.
When the moment came for her on multiple occasions.
She's quite a special one, isn't she?
Yes. Yes, she is. Vale, Weisa.
Vale. I'm gonna go look for Titus.
Okay. On this particular day, Publia chooses her shots. Titus has promised his sister that he will catch up on some must-be-absorbed reading. Now, she took some of the sting out of the blow because she's giving you a military history, but it is a history, and it's pretty thorough. So it's a bit of a slog. You're like, yeah, when do we get to the fighting part? And it is, I will go into probably more detail about this later, because you do have proficiency in history, don't you?
No.
Okay.
Tactics, though. I think that's what we decided on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it is a slog, and you are learning. Okay. So you did not know this ahead of time. You are learning about a whole massive civilization that the old empire had to duel with on their portion of the continent, much back in their history. But that the other civilization was mighty enough that the outcome was not certain. at the time.
And time or year?
They actually had several bashes, but you're looking at roughly. This is roughly 2,200 winters back.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you had no idea, because the narrative that you've been given basically your whole life, although you're connecting a few things that Rutilius has said over the years and a few things that your grandsire said over the years, but basically the narrative is that the Empire just sprung fully form from Greatest Magnus.
This is the history they wanted to hide.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. No one was ever against Fake Prime.
And this particular scroll, because it's not a full book, this particular scroll came from Lady Vale's hand, which means that she wrote. You see, she has beautiful handwriting, beautiful flowing handwriting, almost calligraphy.
Which makes it harder for him to understand. But he appreciates how great it looks.
Different from your sister's, not as delicate. It's a bolder hand, but you know that means that she traded. There was some kind of trade. So this is basically Vale, quote unquote, paying penance for whatever she asked.
Sweet.
Lyvia were doing. Yep. So you're there. You get directed to the young lord, and this is the room. This is the joined room that you and Lyvia used to hang out in together. And so how is Titus positioned?
It will be funny enough where you're like, oh, he had to much do this reading. However, when you knock on the door, in front of the table, you will see a standing high chair, and Jerem's in it, and I have him wearing armor, and I'm going through talking him through it, and he doesn't understand anything, but he's just holding on to all the anything he can. And it's just like, and then that was when Fang, like, he's actually super interested because he's able to communicate that information to him, and there's like just handmaids and Myrmidon just sitting on the side, like, but me, the baby and me are super engaged.
Isn't
that adorable?
You just melted my heart, Donnie. Thank you for that. I needed that tonight. Germs
and a Fang Bam thought that they were incredibly impediment. Yeah, just like, and then they swept across the land, like just going through the history and trying to entertain. The baby's just laughing and smiling. And I'm like, exactly. Like, and I'm like, as if I'm having a conversation with him.
He's about 3 moons now. Yeah. Okay.
He's just like holding up his head, just laughing, kind of giggling. Sweet. Come in. Yeah.
Are they?
Weisa. Pleasure.
Am I disturbing you? Is it okay for me to...
Yes, absolutely. Come in.
Okay.
And I start like trying to make myself more lordly in that, and I like take off the helmet off of Jeremy. Just put it aside.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
baby leather helmet kind of.
I'm gonna say one of. I was good. Just you caught that. I'm gonna say one of the Kithki leather workers.
Yep.
Made a little baby cap for him. The Nena, one of the Nenas reaches for him, and you have to help her.
Oh yeah, I'll take him out of that and be like, let's go through a little history lesson.
I love seeing you read.
I believe you and Lyvia are the only ones who do.
Well, may I have some privacy with you? Is that possible?
Absolutely. Would you like to speak here and around the keep?
It is up to you, but...
Yeah, give us a moment if you wouldn't mind.
And she trundles out. Do you have Myrmidon with you right now?
I'd send them out as well.
Okay, but you did. You had.
I think that honestly it would have been the one charge that Lyvia would have in charge of the military to make sure that I was actually reading. So those were her two, to make sure that I was doing the work.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't have my men there, but hers.
Right.
For sure.
I promise he'll get back to his studies really quite soon.
It's quite riveting. Yeah.
They bow.
Yeah.
They bow and leave.
Weisa, would you like something to drink?
Oh, well, okay, what do you got?
Yeah, I just start pouring a little thing of like, mulled wine or anything that I have, like a sipping drink, not a peat beer.
Do you want to describe the room to her and our faraway friends?
Absolutely. So the room is going to be Titus and Lyvia's kind of twin-based room. In the center was like the hearth, kind of open fire, where they had their own independent rooms. And that was like where they'd be studying, where they'd be reading, where everyone would be teaching them everything. A small kept library. In her room was obviously more regal, well kept, where his is almost like a barracks, but his bed is still really, down feathered comfort and all that. The major difference that you'd see from this in all of his life is that there's a really well made cot standing outside of Titus's room where he sleeps now because the crib is
because Jerem has taken over.
Jerem has taken
his
over
bedroom.
in my room. Yeah, so. Yeah, so it's just kind of always disheveled, but organized like a guy who organizes a tool shed. I know where everything is, but at the same time, it would look like absolute chaos.
That's a good, that's a good.
And then on Livia's side, everything is perfect,
meticulous.
Dewey Decimal
Yeah,
system.
meticulous.
Dewey Decimal.
Yeah, she has it all laid out.
Love that.
Yep. Like wine, peat beer, what would you like?
Dealer's choice.
Fair enough. Then I pour my Wacko. So it's a pleasure.
Thank you. I'm here on some a bit sensitive task. Publia has sent me out to explore and inquire about the death of your father.
Yeah, she would be the one to do that.
I am hoping to solve this mystery, and I've just spoken to your twin, and I'm curious if you are willing to talk to me about this.
I can't see why not. He's not going to come back. I guess, what did Livia tell you? What questions do you still have remaining?
I will just interject here. You would also know that his mother became deceased shortly after. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I know that he passed in a pantry, and that your mother passed shortly after. I know that Livia found him.
I wish I would have been alive.
I can imagine. And I also know that there was some tension between them and your sister.
Not between my father, but between my mother and her, yes.
And your sister spoke of a horrible amount of force being used against him.
I hold up my hand, and all you see is a big, perfectly cut scar that almost looks like it was put together. I was like, yes, I remember it well. I was holding my sword, not by the hilt, but by the blade, looking down. And you could see the ground through his chest.
I can't imagine. I'm so sorry to hear such horrible, horrible things. This might sound strange, but do you have anything of your father's?
I don't believe I do.
Might Rutilius?
I believe Rutilius would, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
I don't have anything of his, do I? No. Yeah, that's right.
And unless you can think of something that you would reasonably would have kept.
I
mean, I'll allow it.
Yeah, no, nothing. I wasn't very close with my father.
And why might that be, if you don't mind my question?
I think he resented being a Vaughn as much as my grandsire loved it. He was in the shadow most of his life, until my uncle was put to rest as well. He was left to his own devices.
I understand. And do you have any idea why anyone would want them, both of them, dead?
My mother's death is not necessarily a mystery.
Oh.
But Juramentum had its enemies, as it still does, and it's hard to say. We are a threat, and no one can kill my grandsire, so why not go for an heir? That was the only thing that we can make the most of it.
When you say your mother's death isn't a mystery, what do you mean?
She chose her path to the next.
I understand. I'm sorry to hear that.
She became dependent after my father. She was already dependent, but another time. But for my father, he was in the pantry. Great force. Yeah.
And was it strange for him to be alone there? Or
Everything about Falco Kimber was strange. He's just, you know, a lord left alone, truly. No one ever expected anything from him, so he never expected anything from himself. So he would go around places no one would want. They'd bow, but no one would ask. He's quite lonely.
I was just about to say, sounds like quite a lonely experience.
Yeah, for most of that night, I believe it was the only time my grandsire was actually proud of me. Became very tactful and quick, and searched the entire castle myself with him, following around, interrogating everyone there, but no one knew. There was only a few people that could do that. Outside of me now, or my grandsire, they were the most loyal of men to the city. Lepidus Major, I believe, Finney the Elder, Marius, if he was here, but I don't remember Memoria. It was a long night.
And there was no disturbance in the security of the keep that day.
No, I was awoken. Just to come and see my sister standing over him.
Quite strange.
I'm going to correct one detail.
Yes, please do.
In case this might be the player. Lyvia woke you up.
Lyvia did wake me up. Okay, and then
knocking
she
on the
didn't
door.
come back into the room. That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can. So
Yes.
maybe his memory was hazy, and then
Yeah.
he corrects himself.
No, Lyvia came to find me, grabbed my sword, ran down. She didn't enter back into the pantry, but I did. And stared down. He was quite small when he was alive, but it was crazy. It was very odd to see him smaller.
I can't imagine it. And I won't ask any more questions.
If you need to, I understand. Publia has her reasons. She saved enough to know why she'd want to know this.
Well, I think I must go to Rutilius. You're more than welcome to join me, but I don't want to disturb you.
I look back at all the reading that I have to do, and then I look at the empty chair, and I'm like, I'm sure Lyvia will make an exception, and I just immediately start getting ready. Just like, oh, God.
Time to bail.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go see Rutilius.
Great mother! He's Domini! It's the Nena. This is the most she's ever spoken to you.
Yeah. Yes.
She says, "Come and see! Come and see!"
Yeah. I run in. Huh!
You run out, and she's taken Jerem to a side room with a rug on it, with the fur on it. I looked this up to make sure this was possible. by
For
the way.
a baby that, yeah.
3 months old.
I think it'd
3 moons old.
be closer to 6 now.
And you see him crawling.
Weisa, look.
You know that's extraordinary.
I go, can you please give us a moment? And then go behind the doors and be like, yes! Like, and then just like comes back out and like, let's go see Rutilius. Yeah, just kind of brushes himself off.
And Weisa just like notes that she's impressed by the heart and joy that Titus holds after hearing about this tragedy of his parents. It's just impressive.
Yeah, it's old hat to me.
All right, and you beard the Old Dragon Seneschal in his den, or as the case may be, in his office, which is in a corner, in a quiet corner of the keep. It's not.
Yeah, because his is under.
It's not central, and it also is on the ground floor.
It's on the ground floor, the opposite side of the kitchen, but it's directly underneath Invictus's room.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And as you enter, you get through the pleasantries, and and you enter.
He's crawling. Yeah, I just walk in. That'll be the first notice of that.
Domini,
He's crawling. He'll be faster than you.
crawling.
Yeah, a moon or two.
Of whom do we speak, Domini? The boy?
Yes.
The infant?
Yes. He does look a lot like you, an old man.
Crawling?
Yeah.
Impossible.
I saw it for myself. Weisa can confirm.
It's true.
Not just falling over.
No, he's actually a little bit
Actually
more mobile
crawling.
than you.
Well,
I'm kidding.
that doesn't take much these days, Domini.
That's fair.
I
I understand you would, but the handmaiden of the mistress, of my mistress, of the Lady of Juramentum comes to me. Although, I wonder, are you coming to me as a handmaiden or as something else?
am here on a mission. I've been given an assignment.
When are you not?
Titus kind of wants to lean back and go, and then kind of see where those tart that, and then just kind of like throw one over to Rutilius and take one. I can smoke.
Not so old that he doesn't snatch it out of the air.
Publia always sends the pleasantries with pleasant people.
When you get to be 76 winters in a world where men die in their 4th decade. Deviltry, sorcery, delicious.
I love that you are enjoying so deeply. May I please ask some questions, though?
She got the spices just right. Just right.
Seneschal. So, Lord Falco. Perhaps you know more than anyone about this occurrence. Were you by his side?
This is the topic at hand. Well, she did say to prepare myself. I know a fair bit. My memory isn't what it used to be, my girl, but I will attempt to aid you. I assume, Domini, this has your full blessing.
Absolutely. Publia has the reasons. The Weisa has a keen mind.
She does. A mind that I saw on display not a 10-day past. You kept your composure well in that shrine, girl. I know that was not an easy sight for you.
I don't find it respectful to lose my composure around such emotion.
Correctly so. How may I be of service on this day?
So, Lord Falco, what was your relation to him? Did you serve him directly?
No. No. Although, of course, he was a member of House of Orin, and I will go to my creator, having served them with every breath of my adult life and most of my youth, and proudly at that. So, upon occasion, yes, I would. Actually, I was the one who taught him his letters, taught him his numbers, not exclusively, but he had a head for mathematics. Never did quite wrap himself around the trade tongue. A few other academic curiosities, but you didn't come here for that.
No. And his wound. I'm sure you inspected it yourself.
Closely. Make an insight check.
11.
It's happening again, where you're a interpersonal genius, Weisa, and yet you're dealing with you with 60 years of experience on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's just, if Livia's, poised and has a smooth mirror, he's just some fathomless pool sometimes. He may be the most difficult person you've ever run into, aside from Publia herself, to read.
Around them, surrounded by them.
Yes, just freaking surrounded by him. His nasty level 20 house advisors and others. Yeah.
I love it.
So what might you have seen in the wounding, if I may ask?
Tremendous force. Tremendous. At the time, I reckon there were probably 3 men in the city who would have had access, training, and means. That was no crude blow from a slaver, for example. Even someone as powerful as Lepidus Major, our blacksmith, our senior blacksmith, couldn't have delivered that blow without an understanding of weight and leverage. And in the pantry, it would have been difficult indeed. It was unlucky. I never did understand why he was in the pantry, though I didn't even know he knew his way to the kitchen. Couldn't stand the back and... He looks at you and he asks without asking if he has your permission to speak candidly. Sighs. Handmaiden, he had no time for the business of running this keep, let alone this city. I told you he was good at mathematics. Mathematics, that would have been an interesting one. Mathematics, sums and numbers, and that is true. But he had no desire to put that to good use, nor did any more than he had a desire to learn the trade tongue that would have accompanied that. We could have used someone like that, but it...
In perfect cavalier, I'll be like, and he's standing right over here, don't worry about that too much. What was that, I'm sorry?
He says...
I know you were mad at me that, but...
He says back in Cavalier, the juice wasn't worth that squeeze, Titus. And then he looks back at you. You don't speak trade tongue.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So,
Just
I can sense the tone.
Yes. And I kind of look, kind of smile back to me.
that is a tale for another time, and that tale won't be coming out of these lips. So, yes, that's how it was then, Handmaiden Weisa. That's my estimation of it, and although I was never any great warrior, I could hold my own, and I have watched greater men than myself fight all the memory that I have. I can tell you, personally, I think he was lured. I don't see any other reason. He would have been head deep in lentils. There's no reason he would have been there. He didn't like the hustle and bustle, the children, the yelling, frankly, the laughter. None of that.
What might he want?
Well, if I knew that, you wouldn't have to be here asking those questions, huh?
Rutilius, do you have anything of his nearby?
Nearby?
Around here?
Define around.
In close proximity?
I might.
I'd love a look.
We'd all love things, Handmaiden. We don't necessarily get them.
Titus.
I'm looking for any level of clue.
Dominique. I understand. Actually, she is plebeian. She calls you by your given name. She is chosen, part of your fellowship. Would you indulge an old fool and tell me which one is more important to you?
Who?
The fact that she is a plebeian, or the fact that she is chosen?
The fact that she followed me into a home without asking and saw what she saw. I trust her with my life. That should be suffice, Rutilius.
I would hope you would trust me with yours as well. And in front of another, I will never call you Titus.
Take note of that.
He hands you something. He hands you a necklace, and it looks like a simple leather string with some piece of wood, not an eye, but some piece of wood attached to it, so smoothed over by so much fiddling that it's almost been erased what it was.
I'd like to just take it in my hands and even just see if my senses take me anywhere. And, like, ignoring that it was on Rutilius for any time, just trying to traverse time.
It's a tall order. It's been with Rutilius a while. Go ahead. Make 2 rolls. Make an investigation roll and make a religion check.
What's that?
Investigation first.
And while she's entirely with that, I
Yeah.
do want to take 2 more of those treats and kind of like side arm, push them over the desk to him as like a thank you. And you know, it's something they've been doing for his whole life.
Investigation is a 6.
Oof.
And then what's the other one?
Religion.
Religion.
Or actually for your character, insight.
Insight is 23.
So the feel, whatever genius you have, which you do, in spades, it doesn't come to you in a logical sequence. But what you feel in this item, and it's hard because, like I said, it's been in someone else's possession for a while. And these are subtle skills. I mean, they are part of your chosen heritage, but these are things to be done in the witching hour during fugue, that sort of thing.
Right.
But here you are. And there's something about how smooth it is, and you feel your fingers smaller than Falco Simber's, who was himself though quite small for a Vorn male. Still wouldn't have made him small compared to the populace, but I mean,
I was
Titus
taller than him when I was
Invictus,
13.
Yeah, I mean, all of that. And you can feel the nervous energy, the tick, 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 tick of him taking whatever this was and running it between his thumb and forefinger. So goddamn often, Weisa. As a grown man, this took probably decades to wear it down like this. This is a hard wood. You know the trees around here. It's the same wood that your staff was made of. This doesn't happen quickly or easily. And his anxiety there, that's all you can get.
If I may speak plainly to both of you, I am trying to understand what a man who seemed so invisible, so alone, would be so scared. What might he fear? Was it his death coming to him? He knew? What lurked behind him? And if he didn't really matter, why such brutality? I just don't seem to understand.
I was a young man, but I feel that same burden of being Vorn, but I couldn't tell if it was for him.
You, Domini, have the heart of a lion, even though you have never seen one.
Not wrong.
Vale, handmaiden, I think it's time for my nap.
Understood. Thank you. I give him back the necklace.
hands it back to you. And without another word, a stiff bow to you. A little bit more pain than the last time you paid attention to it. He leaves. He just has a little... And he's very old school in that he has a sleeping alcove attached to the office.
Yep.
That's it. And yields his office to you. There's nothing to hide. I mean, you can look at his papers. His desk has almost, remarkably, for a man of 76 winters, his desk has almost as much activity as Lyvia's coming across it, but from the opposite direction. And, in fact, to that point, Seneschal, I'm here for the pickup. Mistress is asking for them.
Yeah. Come in. Be quiet, and then we'll slowly kind of walk out while they're walking in to pick those up.
Okay.
And we'll wait until they exit, and then we'll close the door. So
a page, a page, this one, a female Kithki, a girl, looks around, scoops up, and Rachel, you may not have seen me pantomiming it, but there were some scrolls that he was setting off to the side as this was going on. And I think I actually only got one in there. But anyway, there was a little bundle that she collects and then scampers out. All right. You emerge from the keep. Perhaps not much more educated. Well, in some ways much more educated and perhaps no more closer in others as when you came into the keep. And you can smell the sweat and the sunshine and the honest competition between the Myrmidon, the laughter, the brotherhood, the vigilance, and above all of it, the pride. And since you did so well on that insight roll earlier, you don't have words to put to it yet, Weisa, but it just seems impossible to you. I think you know what I'm going to say. It just seems impossible to you that one of these men would have turned on him in such a craven, vicious way under cover of night. You know these people now. Now, one of your priestesses might have done that to a rival priestess, absolutely. But you just don't see that here, and you don't feel it. And your intuition tells you it's not here. Publia was expecting you back at some point today. How do you leave Titus? Of course, they bow to you, but they sense that it's unusual for you to be in a company of a woman by yourself. I mean, they recognize you as the handmaiden, but you're not with Lyvia, so they give you a wide berth. They're not on you.
Domini, I appreciate your time, your presence, and I must say I'm taken by this, and I won't stop until I have an answer. I hope today hasn't been too much of a burden for you.
Absolutely not. I appreciate whatever this charge will be and how delicate you've been handling it. And then I want to lean in real close to her and be like, my mother was addicted to milk of the poppy. After the death of my father, I held back everything from her, and that is why she took her own life from withdrawal. Only you and Lyvia know that.
What an honor to keep your counsel.
I don't know why, but she never really accepted that he was gone.
Thank you, Weisa. Some of the Kithki archers are watching you lean in and whisper to her attentively. They smile to each other.
Yeah, and as I watch her look, and as I slowly kind of move my back, make it a little bit more regal, and I feel their eyes on me, but and just see what they do.
Okay, they pop and they all doop, doop, doop.
I look back away, so like
And I kind of straighten and I'll be back to my stall tomorrow, everyone. Can't wait to see you.
Yeah. Of course, other Kithki. I mean, obviously you can read the room, and the Kithki don't try to hide their curiosity the way that some of the men do. They're just very curious what this young lady is doing, or what this young girl, not lady, because that has the particular meaning in this world, is doing, in close proximity to the Lord. And you leave.
I must be back to my reading. Just like kind of, he actually hurries back up, like,
brother,
he's crawling.
Yeah, you hear from the joint room.
Crawling. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I book it back to Publia's.
Okay.
I want to put that necklace on my altar.
Okay.
And really ask the deities for their help in whatever way, whether that's through dream, through vision, through sense. I'm just asking for help.
So when you get back, Lemonius isn't there, and he's taken the Leptis terrier Maya with him, probably on a walk or on some other activity. They do it. He loves the dog, and the dog loves him. So, but you can see your mentor's deft touch, and she's doing something that she has never done before. She's sitting at your altar, waiting for you. She's not right at the altar. She's not in your space, but she is next. But she is next to the altar, waiting for you.
You knew that I wouldn't really get very far today.
Mm-hmm.
So what? What is this game?
No game.
Publia.
Ixley. Weisa.
Do you have something to tell me?
I have something to remind you of. Maybe to tell you, but I think it's remind you of. You knit? Have you ever done knitting before? I should teach you. It's an interesting activity. It's a funny thing about knitting, though. She takes a cloth that she'd been working on. You see this one sticking out? You see how the threads are cross-hatched? She starts pulling it out, and you see the cloth disintegrating in front of your eyes as her thick yet still deft fingers wind it around. And in short order, you're looking at just a whole mess. She puts it in a bowl, and she places it next to you. Figulus Neus passed away using Zed. Others halved away lives in the balance. Their decisions, what happened the other day with the 12th light, all of that. What we have to weigh is what comes on what threads we pull on. You're only going to get better at what you do. It will be your decision, I think, not mine. I'm sick of those decisions. I've made enough of them in my life. I'm old, and I'm tired, and I'm still very good at what I do. But this isn't my time. It's yours. Just understand, sweet girl. And you are sweet. If my daughter had survived, I'd like to think she would have turned out like you. Of course, she's never mentioned a daughter before. She wouldn't have been chosen. Couldn't be. Not with me as the mom. Doesn't matter. You have some decisions ahead of you, too. And I weighed it. I made the decision. Hopefully the last of this sort. To get you ahead of what's coming.
Ahead.
That thread will be unraveled eventually. But it's the difference between us unraveling it or someone burning it in the hearth. One question. Yes or no? I'll answer. 1. No games. No mendacity. No dissembling. Ask.
Do you know who did this?
Yes. Maya starts running around. My dove! I'm back! Crack, crack. I know, darling, and my heart is all aflutter anew because of it. She gets up. She embraces him in a shameless way. She looks over her shoulder. And she gives you a weight that you didn't have when you woke up this morning. And that's where we'll end that. You asked the right question. I was wondering if you were going to ask if she was the one who...
That's what I would ask.
You asked the better question. The more important, the longer question, I should say. Better's debatable, but the longer question. All right. And...
God's damn, you son of a bitch.
Last thing, what does Weisa do with that thread that now means nothing to anybody other than you and her and your mentor?
Place it on the altar with the necklace.
Okay. Next to the necklace? Mm-hmm. All right.
Like parallel.
Parallel, okay. Homework, Tatiana?
Mm-hmm.
For next time, can you draw me a sketch of what is on Weisa's altar now? And kind of like where they're hanging out. I'm feeling like that's becoming increasingly important. Also, welcome to level 3, my dear.
Yeah.
Great.
Sherlock.
Are you feeling hot? Do you want to roll your hit points now?
I do not feel hot at all today.
Okay.
No.
All right, we will do that at the beginning of next stream.
Okay.
Speaking of which, so we are still going to broadcast, same bat time, same bat channel, 1900, 7 p.m. Tuesday. But because not all of us can make it for Halloween, we are going to be, because it's going to be on Halloween, we are going to be, as a troupe, we made the decision that we are going to have a first for Darkeport. We're going to pre-record the session and then air it on at the correct time. And I am going to attempt, my dinosaur self is going to attempt to figure out the chat function and join the children in chat, because I never get to participate in chat.
Wow.
Wait, that can be fun. That could be fun.
I
love it.
It'll be fun for me. Or it'll be a disaster, but anyway,
It's also going to be a very special episode.
Very special.
It is going to be a very special episode. Actually, do you want to let the cat out of the bag?
Weird.
Since you're the featured person.
Characters will be dressed. We will be dressed. We will be full LARP on the Halloween episode.
Yes.
We have yet to see what dear Game Master will dress as.
Secret.
So that's a secret. But it's gonna be really fun. Really campy, maybe.
Can't wait.
I don't want to hype expectations up. I am coming dressed. We'll see. We'll see how's water if it comes across. Otherwise, thank you as always for giving us the greatest gift that there is, that one person can give another, which is the gift of your time. And as you go out on your travels out there, plumbing mysteries or speaking truths, please stay well and stay curious. Thank you so much. Until next time. Wow.